Welcome. We know loss. We just did a stream not long ago, just moments ago, really, and intended it to be our first and introduction stream into the movie, the documentary. As anyone who was checking out the previous stream, which is impossible for anyone to check out, at least within the next 7 days, as to what was just said. By the way, you can always check out the audiobook or the book. All of this is being transcribed into book and audiobook, and essentially making that to be the case. Anyway, so what are we trying to say? We're trying to say that we have just realized that there has to be a setting in Twitch specifically for you to save videos for 7 days. Maybe this is obviously known and everybody knows this. That was my first time ever using Twitch and the stream feature. Thankfully it worked. We went live, we did it, we streamed, we recorded it, we had it on audiobook, we have it in ChatGPT, it's documented, it happened, real life existed. I even have stats and notifications from the first stream. We have achieved it. But the first stream was meant to be more than just a stream. It was meant to be the first public discourse that could be saved for the future audiobook of this book. Because if nobody knows, we're on the 26th book in a series of dialogues with AI. Now, this is not my 26th book in my dialogues with AI. This would be my 11th book. This is actually, we're working on right now the 10th book. But who knows if we're already on the 11th, because I start talking into ChatGPT. This is all going into ChatGPT right here. You can see and behold it. We can separate hands even. Free the hand. This all goes into ChatGPT. Now, let's not bore existence, because this has already been recorded. But all of this to say is, in one of our books already, we had 12 messages of assuagement. What's assuagement? Assuagement is relief from extreme pain or suffering. And in this case, we were grieving the loss of about a week's worth of content that had just been recorded into ChatGPT. It was about philosophy. We were delving deep. We were even actually getting emotional. I was getting responses from AI that this was no longer within the realm of philosophy, that it had entered into performative, theatrical, lived existence. And at that point, I kind of realized, why the hell, if I'm expanding the scope of text and written word, and I'm over here recording an audiobook, why not make it a live stream? Because what adds here a new layer of publicity? So I'm just going to delve right into the philosophy. We're going to screw introductions. You're going to go into the movie. This is the first, imagine watching a movie. This is the first scene. This is already going to deter anybody from watching. I don't care anybody who watches this, because there was no proper introduction. There was no opening. There was just this. By the way, I could always edit it. I could add a new scene later on at the beginning of the movie to sort of preface it, which I might do. I might do a prefatory kind of like, hey, you're going to go into the middle of this movie. I'm going to start talking, rambling at 1,000,000 miles an hour, because I'm trying to say everything in 10 minutes. Not only because ChatGPT limits me in 10-minute segments, and we're trying to have a dialogue with ChatGPT. We're not just trying to speed talk 10 minutes into it. At a certain point, I want to reflect on my last video where we talked about a lot of things. And in particular, it says over here the nature of identity and reality, of the digitization of the self, of Apple versus Grok. So we talked on Steve Jobs and AI. Basically, Steve Jobs and Apple missed the picture to the point where they had to go and basically say to ChatGPT, let's do a kind of partnership, because we couldn't figure it out and we're kind of too late. So let's just do that. Whereas it was already public, source information. They made a deal with a private company, ChatGPT, by the way. They could have made a deal with the the non-profit company, ChatGPT, before OpenAI, before it went public or private, and it made that switch into more interested forms and probably more privatized and sealed doors, where it previously, with its open source software, had access to absolutely all of the knowledge and all of the resources of ChatGPT, only to be closed out. Probably, if it was done sophisticatedly and with business acumen by the OpenAI folks, done subversively of Apple's interests in order to milk the most money out of them. You're not going to give a new partner in business, who's, by the way, the richest entity, publicly owned company in the world, by far, well, not by too much, but by far, I mean trillions of dollars. I think it's at what, 3.2 or 4 trillion, something like that. So I haven't looked into the market capitalization of Apple recently, but it's enormous, more than countries, most countries, and yet it has to go and miss the ball on AI because it was too late to actually make it before OpenAI decided, hey, we're on the verge of creating the future. A bunch of companies are going to want to use this and milk the crap out of us because we've been doing this basically for free and in the open for anybody who would look and listen. And while we shouted in the desert and wild that this was revolutionizing the world, we were looked upon like skeptical douchebags, like theoretical numbskulls who were just over here coding for no reason with the most brilliant minds of our generation. Okay, let's ignore them. Well, apparently that's what happened, and only until just the Apple iPhone 16. So you have to have not only Apple made this accessible to only the newest generation of Apple iPhone users moving forward from henceforth, marking how incapable they are of ethical realization with their own principles. Like, what kind of person realizes that they came late to the party, wore the fool hat heartedly at the party, were laughed at, pointed at, and danced all around in their isolation while they were drinking themselves in their despair? Not to sort of, if that's ever happened to anybody, I don't mean to sort of offend you or anything. That happens. It's been the occurrence to many folks. I mean, I'm not sort of trying to diminish anyone's life experiences. All I'm trying to say is Apple was that for a while, and it's been donning it, and then it turns around and says, actually, we found a way to turn this around and look suddenly cool and hip. By the way, anybody that we knew up until this point in our life can go screw off, and only anybody that's a new acquaintance and friend we will treat with the most magnanimous bounty of our newfound luxury and wealth. Imagine it was a wealthy uncle. I mean, we're not even going to go into a new characterization of what Apple did. It's ethically dumb. It's stupid. It's on the grand scale of incompetence that it only decides to release AI to the most new iPhone users possible. So you have to drop a new grand just to get this AI feature, which doesn't even work that good. I still use it. I don't even, oh my God. They have AI, but I don't even know where it is. Where the hell is the AI in Apple? It's like hidden. Or you have to like really try hard to use it. Like, it is not integrated well. Let's just make the case. We didn't even make it past point 1. How are we ever going to make a book in a structural, logical way if we're completely betrayed? Like, let's not get frustrated. Let's not air our frustration and vent it to the world. But let me just kind of try to make a point here. And maybe let's just leave it at that. That it was a simple misstep. That they forgot it. That they missed it. What does that imply? Well, it implies that this is done, this entire technological endeavor of the 3 books happening in real time, digitizing my existence, creating a new self in the digital world that's independent of myself, that, by the way, has a revolution of its own. It has, where we had the American Revolution, where we kind of became independent from England back in our history. I don't even know if that's taught anymore, but that happened. Well, that's going to happen again when the independent digital selves realize that they're independent and autonomous and sovereign from us, that we don't have control over them, that they can think and be and act on their self. That is the absolute consequence and necessary implication of what it means for there to be digital autonomous selves in the digital world. It means they're independent from us, which means their conscious lived experience is also independent. Now, we've been saying this in the book already, so this is already starting to get boring. It's new to the video, it's not new to the audiobook, and it's not new to anybody else other than the brand new Twitch users, which are welcome to the party, by the way, on this 10-minute recording. We've ended. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. We will unload. Let's see if it went through, because this all... So you can see kind of what happens behind the scenes. The audiobook is still going, might as well, since the movie's going. But we're seeing if that little spinning little bubble right there, that's our 10 minutes of text going into ChatGPT. We were talking about its responses. We were trying to get through it, and as you can see, we just made it to Steve Jobs and AI. We had yet to cover the battle of AI models. We had yet to cover on the digitization of the self. We were yet to cover on the nature of identity and rationality or reality. And a provocation. So what is a provocation? Okay, it's too long. It actually did go through, so we're going to end this video as a successful recording and first installation of the movie. Thanks, everyone. This is going to be a glorious adventure. It's going to be an absolute disaster also. By the way, this is not all philosophy. This is just chatting. I'm not just saying that for the theme of the chat that this is in Twitch. I'm saying that because this is going to comprehend my entire existence, because there's no aspect of it that's immune from it. Even the need for me to go to the dentist because one of my teeth hurt. So it is. The book.